तो मैं इस वक्त फ़िनलैंड में हूँ, हेलसिंकी में। और यहाँ मेरे साथ जॉन है। जॉन वैसे स्कॉटलैंड में पैदा हुए हैं, इंग्लैंड में रहे हैं,
स्वीडन and the States.
और स्वीडन में भी रहे हैं। जॉन इस वक्त एक किताब इन्होंने लिखी है, ट्रांसलेट कर रहे हैं, जो कि जर्मन में, दिस बुक इज़ इन जर्मन। और दिस बुक इज़ अबाउट दिस book is on thoughts of Swami Vivekanand. It's very interesting to meet John here, and we will be having a short conversation with him. Okay, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. Amazing to meet you. Quite
Same here.
amazing.
So, I would like to know a little about how did you came in contact with this idea of Vedanta and Swami Vivekanand?
I'm meditating 27 years and I was living in Sweden and I had Swedish friends who said to me, interested, where can we find this in the Swedish language? That's long ago, before internet, and now even an internet, the Bhagavad Gita, which is so basic, this is Vedanta, but I don't know now, but maybe 2 years ago, it's not in Swedish, complete, bits. In German, the Bhagavad Gita is complete in German. But you can see everything is so slow to translate, because the one German or Swedish person has learnt enough English, and all the teachers come from India, or if it's Zen Buddhism, they can all speak English. Now, you go to lectures in Sweden or Germany, you have the teacher, can be Vedanta, or anything. Tibetan Buddhism, very popular in Germany, Tibetan Buddhism. I go to a Tibetan doctor, who's Ayurveda kind of.
Okay.
He spends hours just like your Ayurveda. So they always have a translator, always. And that translator, as you will know in all your languages, a lot hangs on how good they are. And I've heard the Dalai Lama translated by a Tibetan into English, and it's hopeless. Now, they're very holy people, but at the same conference, it was in Denmark, there was a Danish lady translating him to Danish.
Okay.
She could speak Tibetan. He's reading the texts, which are always Tibetan. And I said to the Danish woman beside me, I said, it's hopeless, how's it feel? Oh, she's wonderful. I said, this is it. I think the Dalai Lama is great in English, but when you get him in his... so, you see, there's a lack, and I've said this to many Germans. I even ask young people, what do you Google? Google.de, which is Germany, or do you Google.com, which is the States? Because then you're getting your language, all the finds are in that language. You can get two languages. I can get Swedish and English. And you ask students or something, and some of them say, well, yeah, I do half.com, or I do .co.uk, which means I get the English rather than the American selection. And I said to them, yeah, and if you want to learn something and you're professional, I mean, I met a doctor, a Danish doctor, and she said, I googled .se to get the Swedish. I'm trying to diagnose a sick person and looking for an idea or something. And because she had worked as a doctor in Sweden, she said, some areas, they may be better. So if I can get a better diagnosis, and of course you speak Swedish if you're Danish. So this fascinates me still, and I ask anyone. But, I don't know if you know, the German bread is exceptional. And I joke with the German, I say, but you'll never Google.com if you're looking for a bread recipe. You know, the British and American bread compared to German bread, they're two different worlds. So what you Google limits what you're going to pull in that next language. And as I said, the Germans are searching, and I see very little Vivekananda in the German language. And they have a Ramakrishna Buddha monk in Berlin and one in Frankfurt. I visited the one in Frankfurt. He was very nice. And he speaks German, but he said it's so difficult, you know. And he said, they always do the retreat first in English, and they have a German who's translating. So you can see they're living in English and then getting it into German.
So how many like books what are the sources of information right now,
Yes.
especially for the young generation? What are the sources, and also not only sources but sources of good translated content?
Yeah. The source is Vivekananda. In the book I've done, and actually I'm doing part 2, and there's part 3, I will call it California Lectures, because his second visit to the West, this is end of 1899, 1900, he's there for about, in the States for about 4 months, roughly, and then he comes back to India. But he's kind of crystallized, and he's understanding the Western mind a little bit better than the first. He's got some great lectures on the first visit too, and in London.
And the most famous one were from the
California,
first one.
Yeah. So that's the source, and it's really telling you to sit still and find yourself. The basics of Vedanta. He says not Veda, and one lecture he says this is the Vedas where you must have the priests and all the gods, but Vedanta kind of skip the priests and look after it. It's in here, you're divine. That, with Vivekananda's style of English, I mean, he was very good in English. Scottish, he went to the college, Scottish Church College in Calcutta, Scottish rector. That's very interesting how he actually found Ramakrishna, his Scottish head teacher for English and Bible. I mean, these Hindus and Muslims did the Scottish school curriculum. I did this in Scotland, you know, all the Protestant Bible stuff. Protestants, not Catholic. And so Vivekananda, well, Professor Hastie was the rector of the Church College in Calcutta, was teacher of Vivekananda. Vivekananda's there 3 years, he gets a Bachelor of Arts degree. At the last year, he's already met Ramakrishna. I know he says, I wish I could throw all my learning into the Ganges. He says that. But one of his most successful lectures and still is in California was the science of religion.
Science of religion.
And who made a little book? I have it. Professor Hastie.
Okay.
The science of religion. So you can see he got that from Professor Hastie, you know, how to make religion or your spirituality scientific. Organized. Let's step by step see that we can have a good scientific conclusion as to why you should sit still, why you should meditate, why you should be moral in your life, why you should make good judgment. And it's really to get that, if I say his style is punchy. He said himself, long before we had terrorists, I like throwing bombs. And he's talking, but you don't have free will. And he explains karma and so on. And many other things that are basic Vedanta actually kind of are in conflict with the Christian thinking, which is Western thinking largely, the roots. And that's really, I see it in my meditation, I have to get these translated. And that's actually the secret, getting a translator who understands spirituality in her, or it's usually her, but in his or their language, and understanding how to get the phrases fast, concise, get it short, you know. Vivekananda was very concise. And journalists today are paid by how long they write. So they're being pulled the absorb, make it a bit longer. No, that's too short.
The third dimension is about how deep it is.
And actually, if you read Buddhism, it's never concise because they can't get the Tibetan or the Vietnamese or Chinese or Japanese into good English. And this is, I read Arthur Waley, Chinese poems, This is 1914 too, and he's a brilliant translator from Chinese to English. I read it, and it's incredible. Chinese poems are they're just in another world compared to English poetry. They're such a different feeling. I get, and he says at the beginning of his first book, this is not a analysis of Chinese poetry. This is private, personal, subjective bunch of poems, and these are the ones I could translate. There were more I could understand. He's fluent in German. I can't translate them. So translation actually is...
Obviously, translation really matters. It's like we were having a conversation where you just said that that Ayurvedic doctor says that it is important that who cooks the food. So it's actually the same. It is equally important that who translates the the content.
There's a man. He wrote a great book. He's married to Italian, lives in Italy, and he's a lecturer at Milan University. Tim Parks is his name. And he comes with D.H. Lawrence in English, and he says and he's a professor of translation, not a professor of English. This does not go in Italian. It doesn't. By not being concise, you can make two sentences and you've got it. But you look at the English, and it's each language has its special use, and to keep it short and have the same meaning in another language, extremely difficult.
Agree, completely agree. So I think it was a nice conversation to end it. If you would like to comment once more about the arrangement of these
right, but why
pictures.
Sarada Devi is in the middle. I met a very holy woman, and I carry these pictures wherever I go, so I sit and meditate. And she saw them for the first time in my case, and she unpacked them. She put the lady, she didn't know who they were, in the middle. And everywhere I've been in the world, I've been in the Ramakrishna Center. Of course, Ramakrishna is always in the center. But she believes in Goddess Mother of the Earth. She believes totally that if the senior is always a mother, and of course being a woman, and she has her own children. So her natural reflex was to put Sarada Devi in the middle, and I thought this was a wonderful idea. So
I completely
follow her. The mother is so important, and in your culture, not in ours, the mother is more important.
Mother is more important.
This I understand.
And almost at the verge of Navratri is going to start next week in India. Navratri festival.
Yes.
So I think it's a great thought to start with.
Yes.
That mother is always first.
Yes.
Mother is the power, and this
Yes.
is why we have placed Sharda Devi in between, in the middle of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda.
Yeah.
It was wonderful speaking to you, John. It was great meeting you.
Hope
Such a
we keep contact.
awesome coincidence it is.
Everything's planned.
Everything is planned.
Find the meaning.
Thank you.